Here's your wrestling news for November 28th, 2025. Your headlines for today include WWE planning massive WrestleMania 42 match for Roman Reigns, surprise opponent revealed. WWE Survivor Series script leaks, what it really means. Backstage reaction to AJ Lee appearing on Stephanie's podcast revealed. Who is the WWE star Becky Lynch exposed for blacklisting women? Backstage reaction to Brock Lesnar's embarrassing fall on WWE Raw revealed. WWE star takes shot at AEW, calls it a retirement spot. Samoa Joe's AEW Winter is Coming challenger confirmed. Paige VanZant speaks on rumors of joining WWE after AEW exit, and more. WWE appears to be laying the groundwork for CM Punk vs. Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 42, with last week's Raw delivering multiple hints in that direction. F4W Online suggests WWE is now positioning CM Punk as a possible WrestleMania challenger to Roman Reigns. Although Seth Rollins was in the conversation earlier, the momentum within the company seems to be shifting away from that plan. The report notes that last week's Raw included deliberate teases hinting that Roman Reigns' WrestleMania 42 challenger will come down to either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. And with Cody having already stepped up to Roman twice, the report indicated that the momentum seems to be tilting toward Punk. In addition, F4W Online also reported that WWE is planning tension between Reigns and Punk inside the War Games match, tension that may directly contribute to the babyface team losing to the heels. If executed, it would be a clear storyline mechanism setting the stage for a WrestleMania confrontation. If WWE truly is laying the groundwork for CM Punk vs. Roman Reigns, it would be one of the biggest dream matches the company has had in years, two of WWE's most polarizing and influential stars colliding on the grandest stage of them all. Would you choose Punk vs. Reigns for WrestleMania 42, or should Cody Rhodes finally finish his story? Share your pick in the comments below, and tell us which main event you think WWE should commit to. A picture has been circulating online claiming to show the full match card and rundown for Survivor Series 2025, but it's important to note that the document is fan-created and not an official WWE production sheet. The layout looks convincing at first glance, yet the content makes it clear this is a creative mock-up rather than a legitimate leak. The sheet outlines a planned in-ring segment where Triple H announces an inflated attendance record before Jesse Ventura interrupts to advocate for a wrestlers' union. The segment is presented as part of the show's script, ending with Ventura taking a pedigree as the event continues. It even includes a crowd shot calling for Vince McMahon to be shown reacting to the moment with a brief, enthusiastic remark. The fan-made card also lists a rap battle between Joe Hendry and R-Truth and an Intercontinental Championship match featuring John Cena defending the title against Dominic Mysterio. The men's War Games entry is packed with details, pairing CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns against The Vision, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. The document claims Jimmy Uso would suffer a worked injury early, leading to Chris Jericho returning to replace him, despite Jericho being under contract with AEW and unavailable for WWE programming. It also describes Logan Paul briefly leaving to film a Prime ad before being speared by Edge, who would reportedly join The Vision and set up a WrestleMania match, another impossibility given that Edge is also signed to AEW and not part of WWE's current roster. The rundown ends with a dramatic closer featuring Ryback, of all the wrestlers, returning to attack CM Punk and delivering a shell shock before the show fades out, reinforcing that this sheet is pure fan fiction rather than an actual WWE creative plan. What's your take on this fan-made Survivor Series card making the rounds online? The wrestling world may have been stunned to see AJ Lee and Stephanie McMahon sit down to discuss equal pay, but nobody was more shocked than the people inside WWE. According to Fightful Select, the internal reaction to the podcast was genuine disbelief, with multiple WWE talents surprised the conversation ever made it to air. A number of WWE talent were very surprised that the AJ Lee and Stephanie McMahon podcast ended up happening because they expected that to remain buried in the past. The episode of What's Your Story with Stephanie McMahon revisited one of the most talked about moments of the 2010s, AJ Lee's 2015 tweet calling out WWE for unequal pay and lack of screen time for its female talent. The message made national headlines at the time and sparked a real internal reckoning, but many believe the subject would never be publicly addressed again. Instead, AJ and Stephanie tackled it head-on. Stephanie acknowledged how much the tweet stung at the time, while AJ reflected on risking her status as Divas champion to push for change. For many in the locker room, the idea that WWE would willingly revisit such a sensitive moment, let alone feature it on an executive-produced platform, was unexpected. The decision to air the conversation has now sparked internal discussion about how far WWE is willing to go in acknowledging its past and how transparent the company is ready to be moving forward. Do you think WWE made the right call by putting this discussion out publicly, or should this chapter have stayed closed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. Becky Lynch recently dropped a major backstage revelation that immediately set the wrestling world on fire, but the name fans rush to blame may be completely off base. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer clarified that Vince McMahon is not the man Becky was referring to. Lynch appeared on Something's Burning alongside Seth Rollins, where she discussed a disturbing warning she received early in her WWE career. She explained that women were told to avoid certain male wrestlers backstage, particularly one main roster talent who allegedly used his status to manipulate women and blacklist them, regardless of whether they rejected or accepted his advances. We reported this in your 5:30 p.m. video yesterday. Once Lynch added, "You know him, definitely," fans immediately began pointing fingers and many assumed she was talking about Vince. Meltzer, however, shut that theory down immediately on Wrestling Observer Radio. She said main roster performer. Vince McMahon is not who she's talking about. Vince was hardly ever on TV when Becky got to the main roster, so no, it's not Vince. Meltzer criticized how the situation snowballed, explaining that Lynch not naming the wrestler allowed speculation to spiral into unfounded accusations. She said, "I'll never say who it is, but by telling that story, she's essentially allowed speculation to run wild. It's really been unfair. People are being accused with zero information." He also stressed that Vince wouldn't even fit the description Becky used. She clearly said main roster performer, meaning the subject is a full-time in-ring talent who held influence during her early years. Lynch's intention was to shed light on the uncomfortable backstage realities women once faced, but her choice to keep the name private has opened the door to widespread guessing, prompting Meltzer's attempt to clear one major name from the conversation. Do you think Becky Lynch should have revealed the wrestler's identity to prevent speculation, or was keeping it private the right move? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Even Brock Lesnar isn't immune to gravity, and now we finally know what really happened backstage after his unexpected slip on WWE Raw. During an appearance on the No Contest Wrestling podcast, Bronson Reed pulled back the curtain on Lesnar's now viral entrance botch from the November 24th episode of Raw. Reed was already in the ring when it happened, and like everyone watching, he saw the entire thing unfold in real time. "I saw him slip and somehow back roll, get straight back to his feet. And in my mind, it was like, he's either going to laugh this off, which he seemed to do, he laughed it off, we got to business, or he's going to be very angry and all those guys in the ring are going to pay for it." Luckily for everyone standing between the ropes, Lesnar chose humor over homicide. When asked about the energy backstage afterward, Reed said the atmosphere was surprisingly calm. Lesnar even acknowledged the slip, suggesting something on the stage caused it, possibly leftover water, oil, or hair product from someone earlier in the show. Everyone was quite chill about it. I think Brock himself said it. He walked through the curtains and he had slipped on something. Drew said in his entrance he almost slipped, so I don't know if someone had wet hair or some oil or something that was out there on that entranceway. Reed admitted that if this had happened to almost anyone else, the crowd's perception might have shifted instantly, but Brock Lesnar? He turned the fall into a flex. If that was someone else and they slipped, they'd probably fall on their ass and that'd be it. People wouldn't engage anymore from there. But because it's Brock Lesnar, he almost backrolled and got straight back to his feet, took his cowboy hat off, and you knew, oh, he's still going to beat the hell out of people. Even in a botch, Lesnar looks like the most dangerous man in the ring, and according to Reed, if someone had to slip, it may as well have been the only person intimidating enough to shake it off instantly. Do you think Brock Lesnar handled this Raw stumble like a pro, or would the moment have completely fallen apart if it were someone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Booker T isn't mincing words when it comes to AEW's use of veteran talent, and his latest comments suggest he thinks the company has become more of a landing spot for legends than a true competitive platform. On his Hall of Fame podcast, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer discussed Ric Flair's status at AEW and used it as the springboard for a bigger critique. According to Booker, Flair is still under contract with the company, but his presence has barely moved the needle. Ric Flair's still under contract from what I've been hearing. He got paid, but what did he do for them? That led Booker into one of his most pointed assessments of AEW yet. He said the promotion has become a safe haven for older wrestlers nearing the final stretch of their careers, sounding more like he views AEW as a soft landing spot than a place with a long-term creative direction. Like I say, it's a safe haven. He didn't even stop there. Booker doubled down, calling AEW a full-fledged retirement destination for stars looking to finish their careers comfortably. It's definitely a retirement spot if you definitely looking to, wrap this thing up the right way. Booker T has criticized AEW before, but this time he framed the company as a haven for aging legends rather than a true developmental or competitive platform. His comments reopened the long-running debate over whether AEW is doing enough to build new stars or simply offering well-paid contracts to big names from the past. Do you agree with Booker T that AEW has become a retirement home for wrestling legends? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Eddie Kingston made his intentions crystal clear on AEW Collision. He's officially coming for the AEW World Championship. Fresh off a hard-fought victory over Katsuyori Shibata, Kingston stood tall in Nashville and delivered an emotional post-match promo. He said that while he still considers Hook a friend, the young star will have to deal with the consequences of aligning himself against Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland as part of the ops. Kingston also opened up about the internal battles he faces every day, admitting he sometimes questions whether he even deserves the support he gets. He told the crowd that the ring is where he finds peace, not social media, not the spotlight, but the love of pro wrestling and the fans who share that passion with him. Then came the challenge. Turning his attention to AEW World Champion Samoa Joe, Kingston recalled once looking up to him during his ROH World title run. Now he sees Joe as someone guiding Hook down the wrong path, and he made it clear that he's done watching from the sidelines. With fire in his voice, Kingston called his shot for Winter is Coming on December 10th in Atlanta. For Kingston, this isn't just another title match, it might be the most personal fight of his AEW career. After everything he's endured, from injuries to mental struggles, he's determined to take his shot at the most dominant champion in the company. Will Eddie Kingston finally get his moment, or will Samoa Joe shut him down cold at Winter is Coming? Share your thoughts below. Paige VanZant isn't ruling out a return to pro wrestling, but she made it clear she won't be doing it in WWE. During a recent Instagram Q&A, the former UFC standout was asked directly whether she'd consider joining WWE in the future. VanZant didn't hesitate. If she steps back into the ring, she said her priority is AEW, not WWE.
Would I ever join the WWE? So I've kind of talked about my journey with the AEW, and at the time when I entered into the pro wrestling world, I wasn't fully committed, I would say. So I don't know. I think if I were to go into pro wrestling, it would probably be the AEW. I had an incredible experience with them, love the promotion, so I think pro wrestling world, that's where I would go.
VanZant's history with AEW goes back to her time working alongside American Top Team, appearing regularly on Dynamite with Dan Lambert, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. Her only match came at Double or Nothing 2022 when she teamed with Sky and Page to defeat Sammy Guevara, Ty Mello, and Frankie Kazarian. After taking a step away from wrestling last year, VanZant shifted her focus to other projects outside the ring. Still, her comments in the Q&A made it clear that she views AEW as home base. Despite WWE being the larger platform in the broader entertainment world, her loyalty remains with the promotion that introduced her to professional wrestling. Would Paige VanZant be better off making her return to AEW, or should she test the waters in WWE instead? Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you think she fits best. Fans looking for the usual round of pre-show interviews and media appearances ahead of Survivor Series 2025 are out of luck this year. According to Fightful Select, WWE has opted not to hold a traditional media junket for the premium live event, continuing the pattern that the company has followed for Survivor Series in recent years. The reason is simple: Thanksgiving travel. There will not be a traditional media junket for Survivor Series. WWE doesn't do them for that show because it would require talent flying in on Thanksgiving, which nobody wants. Taping SmackDown gave a little more flexibility for travel. This year, WWE pre-taped Friday Night SmackDown, allowing the roster extra time at home for the holiday before heading to San Diego for the November 29th event at Petco Park. With the travel schedule eased, WWE avoided forcing talent on the road during Thanksgiving while still preparing for one of its biggest shows of the year. Even without the typical media circuit, Survivor Series 2025 is carrying massive momentum. War Games is back, the card is loaded with top-tier names, and fan interest has surged to the point where WWE doesn't need a junket to generate hype.